and I'll just keep popping up and causing my My name's Yao, by the way. Good. Over to you, Sam.
Cool, perfect. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good? Good, yes. I love that we're so intimate here because then now I can treat it like a conversation. So I'm going to ask, I'm going to introduce myself and ask all of you individually what your names are, what you do pertaining to music. So I'm Sam Ilori. Come all the way from London. Yeah. And I work at PRS. I worked at PRS now for about too long. No, it's about 7 years now. Been about 7 years. In that 7 years, I've moved from one department to the other. The first department being licensing, where we looked at like venues like this, and we licensed them for their music usage, essentially. The other parts, I stayed there for about a year, and then I moved over to the membership department, which looks at looking after our members and answering queries pertaining to where their music is being played. So I've worked on both sides of the spectrum of the business. There's other departments, but those are like the two main, the membership and licensing. So in that time I've gained experience doing different things, one of which is these coming, to speak to people like yourselves. And hopefully what I speak about today could benefit you going forward within the music industry. That's a bit about myself. I want to hear about you guys. Any volunteers? Don't be shy, man. Don't be shy. We're all family now. Yeah?
What do you want to hear?
Name, occupation, or what you do in music.
Okay.
Yeah. And favorite color. Let's go.
Hi. My name's Sam.
Your name's Sam as well?
Yeah.
Great, man.
We get along.
Yeah, that's it.
Favorite color is purple.
Same here. Your job.
For real?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mad.
It's crazy.
And then music, I make what kind of music I make, or?
So are you a songwriter, producer, or what type of,
I'm like an artist. I kind of do a bit of everything.
Okay.
But mainly just songwriting, making the bars and shit like that.
Okay, cool. So what type of music do you make?
Like psychedelic trap, hip hop,
Okay.
that kind of thing.
Cool. Sounds good, man. Pleasure, Sam.
See.
Purple Sam. Who's next? You're looking at me.
I thought we were just going to go around.
Yeah.
I'm Cupid.
Cupid.
I am a rapper and a singer. My favourite tune is Red.
Okay. Passion.
Passion.
I mean red passion.
Red passion. And Cupid.
And Cupid. There we go.
Yeah.
Time.
Connotation.
Man. Yeah, this is it.
It's all there. Yeah, man. I thought you were asking me my passion, and I don't know. So I'm glad you stopped that.
Fair enough. And Cupid, type of music, favorite color. Perfect. Cool.
Sweet.
Everyone else. Ladies, the guys are winning.
Okay, nice. I'm Davina. I sing kind of jazz, blues, soul. I songwrite as well. I do spoken words. Favorite color is purple as well. Yeah.
She's Spanish.
Me?
Yeah.
My name's Imani.
That's my daughter's name.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't do music. I'm just here out of interest.
Okay, cool.
And support.
Cool. And favorite color?
Pink.
Pink. Pleasure, Imani.
My name's Jerry. I'm trying to get into music. I do some creative stuff, like poetry, just being me.
Yeah.
Favorite colour? It's not colour, but it's black.
That's arguably
Darkness.
okay.
That's it.
Cool. Pleasure. That leaves us here.
My name is
Megan.
I sing and do sort of R&B, soul music, and my favourite colour is green.
Green.
Yeah.
That's it. Cool. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you guys, and I hope what I bring today you can take away something from it. I'll try not to overload you with information, and I'll try to give you the information in the most digestible manner as possible. If you do have any questions at any point, feel free to stop me, and I'll try and answer them. If I ain't got the answers, I'm more than happy to try and find them. I'll give you my details later on, and log in via email. All right? Cool. So I'll crack on. So what is PRS for music? First and foremost, have you guys heard of PRS for music?
Yeah.
You have, yeah? Cool. So you know that PRS for music is an organization that collects and distributes music royalties. PRS Music members are music creators and music publishers. So like yourselves, singers, songwriters, composers, and publishers. So publishers, I'll get into what publishers do a bit later. But yeah, those are main focus groups of membership. PRS Music issues licenses to businesses and music users, enabling them to use members' music. So places just like this, concert venues, festivals, we issue licenses. So then in return, that license we're issuing then pays for the royalties that we issue to our members. So like I said, I've worked on both sides of the business. Money collected from these licenses is paid as royalties to PRS Music members when the music is used. Cool. So making sure creators can keep on creating, that's essentially the heart of what we do. So we have 155,000 members. I believe that has probably gone up by now. We're more looking at maybe 158 or so, just because we get a lot of members joining all the time. And it's not exclusive to members within the UK, it's globally. So yeah, 155 to 58,000 members. 30 million musical works, so that's, I'll get onto that a bit later, but as a member, you're responsible for registering your work with us so we know when it's used. All right? 202.4 trillion uses of music. That's since 2020. So as you can imagine, things are only going upwards in terms of music usage. So that's probably got the development. And 699.4 million royalties distributed by 2020. So again, when 2023 now, that would have gone up. Obviously, the pandemic would have affected that a bit, but as we've seen, music usage is just constantly on the rise. So, do any of you know what copyright is? Yeah? You do? Do you want to try and give me an explanation?
Is it like rights to who owns something? Music itself?
You're on the right ballpark. I appreciate it. Can we all give Imani a round of applause for a contribution? So, copyright, the exclusive and assignable legal right given to the originator for a fixed number of years to print, publish, perform, film, or record literary, artistic, or musical material. So you are close, you're in the ballpark. And that's the remit that we work in, within PRS. This means though, which people make. This means is what people in music make a living by, and what we try to ensure they're paid for. It's their intellectual property, it's their property. Right, so this is where people get, I speak to people on a daily basis with regards to what they understand in terms of what we do and what other companies do, right? So there's two types of music copyright. In fact, I think there's two types of main music copyright, okay? There's the master right, which is the sound recording, and that looks at music artists and record labels. I'll get into a bit more detail as to what I mean by the artist versus the songwriter, because they're not always the same. So there's the master rights, and then there's the publishing rights for the musical work, which is the writers and publishers. And who looks after the writers and publishers? Guys? PRS, there we go. Sam's on the ball. Cool, so I'll break it down like this. So PRS has two bodies that we look after. It's PRS for music as well as MCPS. Have you guys heard of MCPS?
Yeah.
No, you haven't? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I'll explain a bit about what MCPS is and what it does. So as I've explained, PRS is the performing right, and it's when music is played or performed, and again, we look after writers, composers, publishers. MCPS is the mechanical right, what is referred to as the mechanical right, and this is when music is reproduced. So, for instance, like, I don't know how many of you guys don't know how old you guys are, but back in the day, we used to have vinyl, CD, cassette, floppy, not floppy, what was the other small one? It wasn't a floppy disk, it was
Tape?
8-track.
Oh,
But it was another one. It was another medium that was like a
Mini
small-
disc.
mini disc. It was a mini
Was
disc.
it mini disc?
I think it was a mini
Yeah,
disc.
that's no.
Yeah, it didn't. But essentially, all of those formats that the music was reproduced on constitutes a mechanical royalty. And the reason why it's called mechanical is because it plays into the fact that it was mechanically built or formatted in a mechanical way. So we still use that terminology today, and it just relates to when music is reproduced. Yeah, it just relates to when music is reproduced, and as well as PRS, MCPS also looks after writers and publishers. And just to let you know, guys, if you ever contact PRS for music, we're the ones that administrate on behalf of MCPS. So when you call in regards to anything relating to MCPS, it's us that you'll be speaking to. So I like deal with both aspects of these things. And then the master rights is PPL, which is a separate organization. And they're also referred to as the neighboring rights, so they're like our neighbors. And this is regarding when music is recorded and is played or performed, and it looks at the artist, the recording artist, and the record label. So who gets paid by PPL? It's anyone who owns the right to recorded music, both record labels and self-releasing artists, has given an audible contribution to a recording, both featured and or non-featured performers. And in regards to joining PPL, if you're interested, it's a free application and you can check out their website when you wish. So just a little insight, I'm not really here to talk about PPL, but a little insight into how their revenues split. As you can see, the rights holder, which depending on who it is, it could be the record label or it could be a self-releasing artist, as I said, and they get 50% off the rip, just straight, it goes to them, right? And then the featured performer, i.e. Sam featuring Cupid, you're the featured performer, you're looking at between 65 to 90% of a share. And then let's say, I forgot the names again, Jesus. Let's say Davina is the non-featured performer, you're looking at between 10 and 35%. All right? So I won't really go into too much detail about PPL, but I just thought I'd give you a little insight. This, off the back of that, is how streaming revenues is split. So in regards to when your music is streamed, it doesn't give the full breakdown here, but in regards to when your music is streamed, so the DSP, IP, i.e. Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, all of these different DSPs, they're looking at around a 30% take from when your music is played or used on their platform. So they get 30% just off the rip. And then whoever the label or the master right holder is, they get the other 60%. And then whoever the publishing or the songwriter is, they get 10%. Alright, so that's just a little insight into that. Again, I don't want to overwhelm you with this information because it can get, a bit much, but I just thought I'd give you a...
Does that mean like 30% to each DSP, or like the 30% goes to all of them, like Apple and Spotify?
So it's to each DSP. Yeah. So it's not 30% that's split amongst all the, to each, So each of them have their own because their own standalone platform, they allocate that one. Cool. So I'm going to use an example, right? We've got a 4-piece band. We've got the songwriter and the vocalist, we've got the bassist, lead guitarist, and the drummer. Who wants to be the songwriter? Any takers?
I'll take that.
You're going to take that
I'll
sound?
take that.
Okay, cool. Bassist, Davina. Lead guitarist, Cupid. And drummer. No one said, I'll be the drummer. No. You're going to be the drummer. You're going to be the drummer. Okay, cool. So in our 4-piece band, who gets the publishing rights, it's gonna be one person, depending on what your agreement is. So the reason why you're getting the publishing rights is because you've written the song, as opposed to anyone else writing the song. If you all contribute to writing the song, or composing the song, and you agree that that's what it is, then it will be reflected like that. So let's say you all say, okay, we're going to split this 25% each, and then that's going to be what we contribute in terms of the songwriting or composition. Then that's what it will be. But usually, it's the songwriter that gets the publishing rights, right? The master rights, however, everyone will get a cut, because now everyone is featured on the sound recorder. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? Cool. So the publishing is PRS, the master rights is PPL. Okay, so in the terms of like a cover song, so a cover song is essentially me, you, anyone here singing, I don't know, a Beyonce song, right? We obviously haven't written it, but if we record our own version to it, subject to us getting permission, then we'll be entitled, we won't be entitled to the publishing rights because we didn't write it, right? But we'll get the master rights because now we've released a sound recording of it. I wouldn't advise doing that, guys. I wouldn't advise re-recording a Beyonce song because you might get into trouble. But yeah, I hope you get my comment.
If you do a cover,
Yeah.
and you write your own say verses, and you cover the chorus.
Yeah.
Does that depend on an agreement, or like how would that work?
That's a great question. If there's any cover that's to be done, you have to get permission.
Yeah.
In any capacity, whether you've added verses
Yeah.
or not, but the basis of the song belongs to someone. Yeah, exactly, to someone else, and you need to get their permission. If they've assigned their rights to like a record label or something, then you need to go to the record label and get that permission. But if you don't, then you run into a whole lot of legal issues in the future. Because let's say now your version takes off past the version that's the original.
Yeah.
They're going to be looking at you like, well, we didn't authorize this. We need money from what you've earned, and then they can potentially say, well, we need money for damages as well. So you always want to seek the permission of the person who owns the copyright. So going back to like the third slide, copyright is important. And the same applies to you guys. If someone rips off your music, you're gonna want to be like, well, I made it, where's my cut?
It's the same as sampling, right?
Yes, exactly. You want to seek permission for sampling, although Kanye didn't really do that at the beginning of his career, did he?
Nah.
And not many people do until they run into legal issues, unfortunately. You always want to be in a position where you've sought the necessary permission to use someone else's intellectual property. It's courteous.
Yeah.
So again, the two, this. So yeah, one is the Performing Rights Society, Publishing Rights is PRS, Master Rights is PPL. If there's anything you're going to take away from today, it's those things, all right? So who are our members? Now, when I was moving my hard drive onto Yao's laptop, it kind of like moved things over. So this is not how this slide should look, but I'll explain anyway. Who are our members? They are songwriters, composers, electronic producers, music publishers, producers in any capacity actually. So it's not just electronic music, whatever music that you produce, right? And successors. Successors pertains to those who inherit the intellectual property when one of our members pass away. So that's what I mean by successors. Right? Again, this slide is a bit messed up. What is a music publisher, and what do they do? Have you guys heard of a music publisher? Or are you aware of like music publishing companies? No, not really. Yes, a bit of yes or no. Okay, so publishers, I'll explain, they're essentially in place to exploit the work of a songwriter or composer. And I say exploit kind of badly. I know exploit has negative connotations, but in this way I'm explaining it is for them to take the work of you and I, us people here, and say, okay, here's an opportunity over here to use it in Netflix. There's an opportunity to use it in a car advert. There's an opportunity for it to be used at a football match in a stadium. That's what their job is to do as a music publisher. And they do also administrate on the behalf of the songwriter or composer. What I mean by that is, when you guys, or if you guys become members of PRS for Music, it's your responsibility to register your songs with us so that we know where it's being used, right? If you have a publisher, they do that for you. So they do the admin on your behalf, all right? Okay, so when music is performed, performance royalties from PRS include shops, bars, restaurants, live music venues, nightclubs, music festivals, radio, TV, streams, and downloads. So this is all places that are licenses, all places that are licensed by PRS for Music. So in turn, their license pays for the royalties that we pay to you as members. Again, guys, feel free to stop me at any point if anything doesn't sound wavy. All right. So MCPS, when music is reproduced, mechanical royalties from MCPS include physical formats, i.e. what I spoke about earlier, CDs, vinyls, DVDs, cover mounts, TV, streams and downloads. So aspect of streams and downloads goes to PRS, another aspect is attributed to MCPS. Again, I won't go into too much detail because it might overwhelm you, but just know that when your music is played, you get PRS royalties, MCPS royalties, and PPL royalties.
How does PRS know?
Great question, it's going to be on the next slide.
Okay.
Ahead of the game, people. Okay, maybe not the next slide, but I'll answer it anyway. So PRS know through, so you register your song with us, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you register your song with us, that sits on our database, on our system, and then it's attributed what we call a tune code, which is a specific unique code that is specific to that song that you've registered, right? So now, if a radio station plays your song, they use that tune code to report back to us that they've used it, and that's how your royalties is generated. So anywhere that's licensed, as long as they send us the reporting, with the agreements we have with our licensees, they have to send us reporting. So that reporting is thousands and millions of lines of data, which include all our members' tune codes, wherever it's used and however it's used.
So if the radio station doesn't report it, then you don't get that, basically.
Exactly, but then they'll be violating the terms of the agreement with us. So again, the radio station that your music is playing on will need to be licensed. So a lot of people over the years and on a daily basis, I've spoken to people and they've been like, well, my music was played on pirate radio thousands of times. Why haven't I received royalty? It's because it's on pirate radio. Yeah, it's not licensed, unfortunately. So the places, they need to be licensed, and that information can be found on our website as well with regards to, the licensed venues and stuff. They need to be licensed in order for us to pay the necessary royalties to our members. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah? Cool. So if any of you are not members, I'll just talk to you briefly about joining PRS and MCPS. So it's £100 for each application, £200 in total. This includes VAT if you choose to join both societies. Recently, actually, we launched this initiative where if you're under 25, you only pay £25 for a PRS application. Unfortunately, MCPS is still £100, but if you join PRS and MCPS and you're under 25, you'll be paying 135 as opposed to £200. Right? It's a one-time payment, so you never have to pay again, and it lasts for a lifetime. Lifetime membership, covering almost 150 countries. And when I say that, I mean we have reciprocal agreements with a ton of other societies around the world. So as you can imagine, we're not the only business that do what we do. There's a ton that do the same thing in the different countries around the world. And we have reciprocal agreements with them. So when your music, for instance, is played in Germany, we contact the society out there by the name of Gamer, and they send us the reporting, and vice versa. When their members' music is played in the UK, we send them reporting. So that's what I mean by the reciprocal agreements. You also get voting rights, depending on your earnings, obviously, and funding opportunities. Who, from the foundation, PRS Foundation, who will be speaking next, and also Members Fund. So they're two different things, but yeah, my colleague here will explain how the foundation differs from the Members Fund. So it's a Members Fund and the foundation. Cool, so this is the joining page. When you visit the website, you'll see this page, how to join, what is needed, etc. A few minutes of your time. Again, if our number's on the website, so if you run into any issues on any given day when you're trying to fill out the application, you probably even coming to me in terms of like when you make a call on any given day. I might be the person that answers the phone. So give us a call, send us an email, and we'll be happy to help if you run into any issues. Right? So this is a bit of what the page looks like when you finally become a member. So it would say welcome back and all your respective names. Welcome back, Davina. You earn £200,000 from performing at Wembley Stadium in London. You know, that's what it's going to say.
Yeah.
You know, so this is essentially the portal where you register your work, register your live performances, raise any queries that you may have with us, check what is registered on the system, and just everything is facilitated via our PRS for Music website. So again, a whole lot of things here that you can do. Manage your counter. Well, you never want, bottom left-hand corner, if you're looking there, everyone, the counterclaims portal. You never want to have to manage a counterclaim, because that's when someone is claiming more of a share on your work than they should, and then it ends up that nobody's getting paid. So you never want to be in that position. You always want to agree what your splits are before. So going back to the slide with, where we all join the band, we're all in the band. If we're going to agree that we're all contributing to the song, we all want to agree and get it in writing that this is what the splits are, so that going forward there's no discrepancies with understanding what everyone should get. But essentially, going back to the page, raise queries, check our system for any unclaimed royalties, register live performances, register works, and yeah, search the database in general. This is the page of the live performances. So going back to what I just said, registering live performances gives a breakdown of. It's a chance for you to give us a breakdown of where you performed, what your set list was when you were performing, and how long for, etc. And all that information is to be put on our system using this tool. Cool. So submitting set list. Back to the point of submitting set list. As long as you have membership that covers the performance day, pub clubs and small venues were able to go back within 1 year of the performance. So let's say you all join today, right? We're able to go back a year in terms of if you performed last year. Major concert venues go back three years, and internationally we're able to go back 2 years of the performance. Royalties from live and DJ music events in the UK. it's £9 per show. So let's say any of you were to perform here tonight and it was bumping in here from PRS, subject to this place being licensed, which I believe it is because my good man VJ would have a license, you'll get £9 per show. All right. Larger concert venues is 4.2 of the tickets. 80% of that goes to the headline act, 20% goes to smaller acts, and music festivals is 2.7% of all tickets sold. So this is a video, and it's with regard to music recognition technology. Are any of you DJs here? No? None of you are DJs. This highly pertains to DJs and DJs submitting set lists. And basically MRT is basically the technology that we've adapted and started to use with regard to picking up when our members' music is played by DJs. So them not having to physically go through and submit set lists. We've got MRT in many places, but not everywhere. So DJs do still need to submit set lists. They don't all do that. But yeah, this is more pertaining to DJs as opposed to songwriters and composers. But I wanted to include it because it's a step that we've taken in order to ensure that we're actually looking out for our songwriters and composers, you know, in all aspects. So yeah, 32 devices have been installed in 18 venues. It's improved the accuracy of our distribution. It's also included at DJ stages at festivals, and the DJs will need to submit the information to DJ Monitor. And that's a separate company. Cool. So just going back to what you were saying in terms of when your music is played. So this is just a little breakdown, a little insight, and all this information, guys, is available on our website, all right? So it's a little breakdown as to when your music is used on these stations, how much you're expected to receive for the usage. So as you can see, BBC Radio 2, that's where you want your music to be used. That's where you want it to be played the most. I'll give you an example. That's probably where you heard the Adele's, the Ed Sheeran's, the Take That, yeah, the Stormzy's, the big artists. You hear a lot of their stuff on BBC Radio 2. So yeah, you want to aim for there. In terms of the high peak, low peak, and non-peak, that pertains to when the music is used. So high peak, I believe, is between 7 a.m. and 12 noon. Low peak is from 12 noon to 7 p.m. and non-peak is 7 p.m. till 6 a.m. the following day. So obviously you can see the amount ranges depending on when your music is used. So when your music is used by any of these places, going back to what I said, Cupid, they will need to send us the reporting of this usage. And essentially these values are what is paid to you per play for your music usage. And that's what's paid to you in royalties. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Are you sure? If it don't, tell me and I'll go home. No, I'm joking, I'm not going home. So this pertains to TV, so radio and TV as well, ITV1. Now the BBC One, that's again where you want to get good stuff placed, because yeah, that's where the money is. But yeah, as you can see, high peak, low peak, and non-peak also applies in that regard. Okay, apologies for this. Okay, so the different channels to gain PRS and MCPS royalties from are gigs and clubs, small venues, concerts and festivals, TV and radio airplay, film and adverts, downloads and streams, audio and audio-visual products, and international usage. So essentially all those things that I listed is where you want to have your music played in order to gain royalties from PRS. Yeah? Sorry about the presentation, it's yeah. Cool. And then you're probably wondering, how often will I get paid if I join PRS? When am I going to see my money? essentially. So we have 4 distribution periods, 4 main distribution periods, which are April, July, October, and December. Essentially, that's when you see the payment of your royalties. But this is just a little breakdown of, depending on where your music has been used, and I can make this readily available to you guys as and when. It's also on the website. But depending on where your music has been used, it falls into certain categories as to when you'll expect the payment, if that makes sense. So if your music was used last week, you're not gonna see it in the most recent distribution. You'll probably see it in the one after that, or the one after that. It just depends on where it's been used, how much music has been generated, and how much royalties have been generated. We have a minimum threshold of £30, and what I mean by that is, if your royalties haven't generated £30 in total, then we won't pay it out to you, because we see it as, well, in this day and age, you can't really do anything with less than £30. So we allow it to accrue and build up, so then we can pay it to you, and it can be a decent amount. Alright? I think that brings us to the end of the presentation. I hope you guys have taken something from it, and if you've got any questions at this point, please do let me know. No?
You did your job pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And again, if you do want to join up PRS, come and have a chat with me. I'm going to be here for a while today. If you've got any questions, anything comes to your mind at any point, again, if I don't have the answer, I'll source the answer, but I'll answer as much as I can.
I have a question.
Please, fire away.
So on the thing about the royalties on the radio,
Yeah.
BBC 2's non-peak was the same as its high peak. How come when everyone else is lower on non-peak?
Non-peak and high peak. I think that's just how it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't personally know why, but yeah, I guess that's just how it is. Again, what I didn't mention actually, and thanks for bringing me back to this, is these rates fluctuate. So this is based on December 2021. So now in 2023, it may have changed. Again, like I said, all this information is available on the website. We're very transparent in that capacity, whereby you can check the website and see the up-to-date information on there. So yeah, this is just a snapshot as of 2021. It may have changed, but yeah, it's just one of those things. No worries.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Sure, please
So
do.
I've recently signed up to MCPS.
Before you do, you have to tell us your name.
Oh, my name's Cara Michelle.
Cara Michelle.
Yeah.
Cara Michelle, what's your favorite color?
Green.
Green. Cool. And Cara Michelle, are you a singer, songwriter, DJ? What do you do?
Singer, songwriter, independent artist. So I've been on PRS for a while, but MCPS.
MCPS, yeah.
MCPS.
Cool.
Yeah. Does it just come up on the normal portal? Because I don't see any difference.
In terms of the royalties?
Yeah, you know when you log on to like your member area,
Yeah.
is there a separate one for the MCPS or is it all in that same?
That's a great question. So it's all in the same portal, it's all facilitated. So I think you came in a bit later, but I touched on it a bit earlier with regard to PRS administrating on behalf of MCPS. So it's all in the same portal. When did you join?
Probably like 2 months ago.
About 2 months ago.
Yeah. So
I'll take the details. When I go back, I'll check the information, because you should have the necessary permissions to do everything. But it's all facilitated by the same portal. You have the same membership number and the same login details. All you need to do is, when registering your work, if you haven't already, is input the mechanical share. If you haven't. So if you remember, you've done that. Yeah, so you have the perk and then you have the net. So you just need to put a value in there so that we can pay you mechanical. So it's all on the website. But like I said, happy to take your details and check that. Cool, guys. Any more questions? No? Cool. I know it was a lot of information. Again, if anything comes to your mind, I'll leave some details with you, and feel free to get in contact with me. All right?
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.